Two-Face here, back with another reaction video. This time I'm reacting to Napoleon Defeated Aspern 1809. Now it's been a while since I reacted to these, and I think the last one I reacted to was Napoleon had that big blunder in with Spain and Portugal, and I believe Austria had decided to mobilize against France again. So, and it says Napoleon defeated in the title, so this is gonna be it'll be interesting to see how Napoleon was defeated in Aspern, which I'm guessing is in Austria. Sorry if I yawn. It's because I'm recording this at roughly 5 past midnight. So anyway, the link to the original video will be in the description down below. Please go subscribe to Epic History TV, and let's not waste your time. Let's get into this. And
an Epic History TV History March collaboration.
And go check out History March as well.
Osprey Publishing.
And check out their sponsor, Aspern.
In 1809, France under Napoleon Bonaparte was the most powerful nation in Europe. But the French Emperor's invasion of Spain and Portugal
only while under Napoleon
failed to deliver the easy victory he'd expected.
Nope.
And with many of Napoleon's best troops and commanders now tied down in Spain, an old enemy prepared to challenge France once more.
The court of Vienna is behaving very badly. It may have cause to repent. Napoleon to Joseph.
Austria had been preparing for war with France since her last humiliating
Battle of
defeat
Austerlitz.
at Austerlitz in 1805.
Which I think is modern-day Czechoslovakia.
Busy in Spain, and a British promise of cash subsidies, plus a supporting attack in Northern Europe, it looked like the ideal time to strike. This time, Austria's armies would be led by Archduke Charles, Emperor Francis's younger brother.
Austrian Commander-in-Chief.
He was 2 years younger than Napoleon, but already had 15 years' experience of high command.
Wow.
And he was learning from past defeats. He'd begun to reform the Austrian army along French lines, copying Napoleon's corps system and introducing new infantry tactics.
So it should make the Austrians more formidable.
In the Napoleonic Wars, infantry fought in close order, packed together, standing shoulder to shoulder.
This sort of guide.
But why present such an easy target for the enemy? First, command and control. Before radios, orders had to be relayed by shouted commands. Skirmishers moved independently, used cover, and fired at will to harass and unsettle the enemy, while preventing enemy skirmishers carrying out the same task.
I've already seen this.
Close up to repel cavalry, using the same principle as the square. Austria was preparing for war, left Spain and raced back to Paris, arriving on the 24th
That's got to be like
January,
roughly 1,000 miles, usually.
The French
or
army
more.
in Germany, commanded
I
by
could be
Marshal
wrong.
Berthier, would need urgent reinforcement. So Napoleon summoned units from Spain, called up young conscripts and soldiers from his German allies in the
mostly for
Confederation
extra
of the Rhine.
padding.
La Grande Armée was no longer the finely honed instrument of 1805.
No,
But with Napoleon at its head, it was still a formidable force.
Yeah, took the words right out of my
Archduke
mouth.
Charles ordered diversionary attacks in Poland and northern Italy, but launched his main attack against France's ally, Bavaria, on the 10th of April. It came a week earlier than Napoleon had expected and caught the French Emperor by surprise.
Wow.
Charles was relying on a rapid advance, but a last-minute change of plans, torrential rain, and a slow-moving baggage train slowed progress to a crawl. Marshal Berthier
cannot predict
was
the
a
weather
brilliant
most of the
chief
time.
of staff to Napoleon, but an indecisive field commander. His forces were too widely dispersed, and Marshal Davout's Third Corps was dangerously isolated at Regensburg.
Ooh, not ideal.
Charles ordered his corps to converge and destroy it. But on the 17th of April, Napoleon arrived at Donauwörth to take over command. He immediately ordered Davout to withdraw from his exposed position.
Which will be difficult without a
Too
fight.
late for him to escape without a fight.
Yeah, there you go.
Davout's Third Corps was one of the best in the Grande Armée.
Togenhausen.
And in a fast-moving battle across wooded hills, the heroes of Auerstadt threw back the Austrians.
Wow.
Despite the heroism of General Major Liechtenstein, badly wounded, leading his troops forward. Third Corps escaped the encirclement. The Battle of Teugn-Hausen was the start of Napoleon's so-called four-day campaign. First, he used Marshal Lefebvre's Bavarian 7th Corps and a provisional corps under Marshal Lannes to drive a wedge into the Austrian army.
Oh, if I'm not talking a lot or adding a lot of input, it's just like, it's still quite a lot of information to take in, so... And, as I said, if you see me yawning, it's nothing to do with the video, honest. It's just, I'm recording this quite late at night, so...
Then he pursued its left wing towards Landshut, believing he was following the main Austrian army.
But I'm going
French
towards the
troops
Danube
and
by
their
the looks of
German
it.
allies stormed the town's bridge to win a hard-fought victory. But Napoleon realized that Archduke Charles was not at Landshut, and that, once again, he'd left Marshal Davout to face the main enemy force. Sending Marshal Bessières in pursuit of the Austrian left wing, Napoleon swung north, falling on the Austrian 4th Corps at Eckmühl. The French and their German allies won their 4th victory in as many days. But Charles's main force was still intact, and hoping to keep it so, he ordered a rapid retreat across the Danube. The French pursued, storming the walled city of Regensburg, which they knew as Ratisbon, with its vital stone bridge. Napoleon put Marshal Lannes in charge of the assault. When the attack faltered, Lannes threatened to lead the next charge in person, and his men, suitably chastised, took the city. During the siege, Napoleon was hit in the foot by a spent bullet, causing widespread alarm, but it proved to be a superficial wound.
That's good, at least it's not
Austrian
lethal.
resistance had allowed Archduke Charles and his army to escape across the Danube. Napoleon had cut the Austrian army in half, but both sections now retreated in good order towards Vienna. Napoleon led his forces in pursuit, detaching Lefebvre's Bavarian Corps to deal with a popular revolt in Tyrol, and 3rd Corps and the Württemberg 8th Corps to guard his line of communications. Charles chose not to defend the capital, which surrendered on the 13th of May after a short bombardment. Instead, Charles and the Austrian army lay in wait across the Danube. Napoleon was now down to 80,000 men, facing 110,000 Austrians.
If I remember rightly, the Danube River is quite
Charles's army
wide.
had fought bravely and well throughout the campaign, but Napoleon still had a low opinion of Austrian troops.
Of course.
And decided
To cannon, all men are equal. That's true, actually.
On the night of the 20th of May, French engineers hastily built a series of floating bridges between the river islands of the Danube. And French troops began to cross.
A big bridge. Aspern.
By noon the next day, Napoleon had most of Massena's 4th Corps and his cavalry across the river, about 24,000 men and 40 guns, holding the villages of Aspern and Essling.
It's a good strategic defense point.
Napoleon expected the Austrians to retreat once more, and that he'd only face a rear guard. But reports soon arrived that the entire Austrian army was advancing against him in 5 attack columns, 90,000 men and 300 cannon.
Wow.
The situation got even worse. The Austrians began to float heavy barges and obstacles downriver to smash through the flimsy French bridge.
Alright.
Each time, Napoleon's only
delaying
supply was
tactic.
cut off for several hours. causing critical delays to the arrival of reinforcements and ammunition. The battle began around 2:45 p.m. as infantry of the Austrian First Column attacked Aspern. The village was soon under attack from 3 sides.
That is a lot of pressure.
General Molitor's French garrison clung on desperately, fighting hand-to-hand in the streets and suffering 50% casualties. To support the defenders of Aspern, Napoleon ordered cavalry to charge the Austrian Third Column.
Okay.
But they could not break through the Austrian
Nope.
infantry.
Horses won't
closed up
charge
in their
bayonets.
battalion mass formation. At 6 p.m, Archduke Charles ordered General Bellegarde's Second Column to take Aspern at any cost. Charles himself rode among the front ranks, urging the men forward. In ferocious fighting, the Austrians took the village. Napoleon immediately sent in newly arrived reinforcements to recapture it. About the same time, the Austrian Fourth Column began its attack on the village of Essling, where Marshal Lannes had taken charge of defences while he waited for his own corps to cross the Danube. The first Austrian assault was repulsed. The veteran French cavalry commander General d'Espagne led his cuirassiers in pursuit, but was hit by grape shot and died of his wounds.
That grape shot will literally rip you to pieces.
PM, the Austrian Fifth
if you were
Column
caught by
finally
it.
arrived in position and made its first attack against Essling, which was thrown back by Lannes' troops.
Wow.
As night fell, firing died out across the battlefield, and men got what rest they could among the dead and the wounded.
Hang on, ad coming up.
The most common reaction to a birch arrangement is, I didn't know flowers could look like this.
Right. Okay, I thought I was having internet trouble then. Battle of Aspern. Day 2.
Overnight, Second Corps and the Imperial Guard crossed the Danube to reinforce Napoleon's army, which now numbered 71,000 and 150 guns. But then the bridge broke again, leaving Davout's Third Corps still waiting to cross. Nevertheless, Napoleon decided to attack, using Second Corps to break the Austrian centre. But first, Aspern would have to be retaken. Heavy fighting broke out in the village before dawn. By 7 a.m, it was back in French hands. At Essling, fresh Austrian attacks were fought off by General Lassalle's cavalry and units of the Young Guard. With both flanks secure, Napoleon launched his main attack in the centre with Lannes' Second Corps. Austrian guns poured fire into the advancing French ranks. General Saint-Hilaire, leading the attack, a hero of Austerlitz and Jena, had his foot blown off, a wound that proved fatal.
Well, mostly through blood loss, I suppose, and
Archduke
shot.
Charles sent his Grenadier Reserve forward to strengthen the line. The French infantry, under torrential fire, began to fall back. At this critical moment, the French bridge over the Danube was broken again,
Wow.
halting
Such
the vital
good
flow
delaying
of
tactic.
reinforcements and ammunition to Napoleon's army. By 2 p.m, the French had been driven out of Aspern once more.
Wow.
Heavy fighting continued in Essling, which was briefly captured by the Austrians, then retaken by the Young Guard.
So basically this is going to go back and forth.
Napoleon knew his army could do no more. At 4 p.m, he ordered his exhausted cavalry to make a last charge to keep the enemy at bay, then gave the order to retreat.
Wow.
Archduke
Napoleon
Charles, whose own
retreating
army
for
had suffered huge losses and was low on ammunition, was content to watch the French withdraw to the island of Lobau. In the final moments of the battle, Marshal Lannes, one of Napoleon's finest commanders and closest friends, was hit by a cannonball that smashed both his legs. He died of his wounds a week later. It was a deep blow to the emperor.
What a loss for France and for me. Napoleon on the death of Marshal Lannes.
The two-day Battle of Aspern-Essling was Napoleon's first major defeat, caused by his overconfidence and hasty planning.
Yeah.
Both sides suffered heavy losses, and Napoleon avoided a much greater disaster only because of the exhaustion of the Austrian army. The French emperor had learned new respect for the Austrians. Under Archduke Charles, they had fought bravely, with greater confidence, organization, and leadership. Within days of his defeat, Napoleon had summoned reinforcements to join him on the Danube, and begun planning his revenge. If you'd like to learn more about Napoleon's major battles or campaigns, our sponsor, Osprey Publishing, has nearly
Please
200
check out
titles on
their
Napoleonic
sponsors.
Wars, written by specialist historians and covering everything from the history of elite units to tactics, weapons, and uniforms. Visit their website to find.
And that'll do it. This is another interesting video of Epic History TV. As I said, I'm sorry about the yawning, but I am recording this quite late, and yeah, so Napoleon's first major defeat. Of course, he had most of his best troops tied down in Spain, and with Spain, Portugal, and the British turning up supporting them as well, and but a new reformed Austrian army. So it'll be interesting how Napoleon will get his revenge, because now he had to retreat back to Lobau on the Danube. So anyway, this has been another good video from Epic History TV. If you like this reaction, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.